This program contains coarse language and discusses mature themes. Viewer discretion is advised.
Today, we are here on the Birds and the Bee with Heath, Avery, and Uptown Bunny. Thank you so much for being here. So,
Thank you for having us.
of course, super chill. I just have some casual questions.
Okay.
You
caught me totally off guard. I wasn't ready to start.
Well,
but
here
we're
we
rolling
are.
with it.
We're going. Okay.
I don't know if the viewer caught me zoning out. I was like,
probably. Yeah, viewer caught you slipping. So my first question is how do you define your relationship? Is it like poly or how do you define?
poly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, poly.
Okay.
This is my first poly relationship, and I love it.
How do you define poly?
I don't know. I just see it as like a willingness to have relationships with more than one people on different levels.
So like that intimacy, because I feel like people, there are swingers who they don't want that emotional attachment, but you are both open to getting that, to availing yourself emotionally to someone else and creating different relationships.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. It's a subtle difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that the fear of intimacy goes away if you're poly.
Right.
For me personally, I guess. But it's more of understanding that you can have different needs met with different people, or at least have the freedom to explore it.
Right.
Even if you tend to emotionally lean on one person more than others.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Makes sense. Okay, so going into that and being that, you're both creators, and so some of the interactions that you have with other people are a bit more, I don't want to say transactional, but they don't have that emotional, level. So how do you navigate your own work within your relationship? Do you have rules, or do you talk with each other about when you have to, what does it look like navigating this when you're both doing this type of work?
I guess I'm trying to guess is the spirit of your question about navigating jealousy, or
it could be.
Okay.
Just I'm do you talk with each other, but when you plan a scene, is it is it
well, we
I have
often
a crush on
work
this
together.
person. Okay, yes.
Yeah,
okay,
but we also have our own kind of separate individual careers too,
Right.
that we're both navigating and trying to grow.
Is there jealousy?
Sometimes yes.
There's always jealousy.
Yeah.
I think it's natural. I don't know. I don't know if jealousy is even the right word. I mean, it depends. It depends on the situation. Sometimes what feels like jealousy is maybe more like a fear of rejection,
right,
or feeling left out. There's other subtle things. It's maybe not necessarily like when I think of jealousy, I think it's you don't want this other person to have what they're having. You don't want that experience for them, so. But no, I think our relationship is actually really compassionate. I'm thankful to say.
I think there's definitely partners that we both have that like to explore different things with us. So I'm definitely happy for Heath to have other people to kind of get to experience that with, and vice versa. They're very supportive when I want to do, I don't know, other kinks that maybe we don't share every kink together with each other. So that's one fun thing. And I do agree, it's not usually jealousy, it's usually a fear. I feel like that's the root of jealousy, where you're afraid that you're gonna be replaced, or you're afraid that something's gonna be taken away from you. So as long as we can get over that mound,
Makes
then
sense.
Yeah.
Which interestingly leads me to my next question, which is, I feel like you're constantly doing new things. As a couple partnership, do you aim to keep it spicy? And if so, how do you do that? How do you introduce new things? What's that? Not to get too personal, but I'm just curious.
I mean, thankfully, it stays pretty damn spicy on its own.
Right.
To
no surprise.
You might have noticed we're really fucking horny.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. Yeah,
Can't
horny on main.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we definitely love trying new things also,
Yeah.
all the time, but I don't know. I don't experience a feeling of this isn't spicy enough. How can we make it spicier?
Right.
Well,
Thankful to
yeah.
report that hasn't
It
happened for us
stays
yet.
Yeah.
spicy.
I mean, we talk
Yeah.
about that a lot. Like, we're surprised that, like, 2 years in now, like, we still come up with new things to enjoy together. We go through phases of, like, stuff that we like. Like,
Yeah, that'll be a lifelong process.
Yeah,
I predict.
yeah.
I mean, there's always new things. The world is constantly changing.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
So, but we're both really like open and curious.
Sometimes we see something on porn or we see another creator and we're like, oh my God, I want to do that. I really want to do that with you. So,
Which leads me to my next question, which is, and this is for you as individuals, what is something that you have not yet done that like an unfulfilled fantasy? Pick one, maybe you have more, but something that you haven't done yet that you are itching to
That's a tough question.
get done.
I've done a lot of things.
That's fine.
Let me think. I have to think
I
about
feel
that.
like you need
Okay.
an anal gangbang scene all to yourself.
That
Well,
sounds
okay,
hot.
yeah. Oh,
Would
okay. Well,
watch.
so there's a lot in the world of like porn and content creation that I have yet
Sure.
to shoot.
Yes.
That's a different question. In that case, then the answer is a potentially long list of things that I have not
Which is
yet
something you
shot.
want to experience.
But things that I've experienced, I don't know. I've definitely had many anal gangbang in my life, which I'm grateful for.
Many
Okay.
are gangbang.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to take this one
Um,
first. I'm stumped.
Okay, well, something I've wanted to do for forever, and I'm gonna have to do it before this video comes out so no one can take my idea. But for the longest time, I've wanted to do like a spelling. Okay, it's a video scene.
Okay.
It's a spelling bee where basically I'm like tied up on the ground with a bucket of water in front of me, and I'll be read like a list of words, and if I spell it wrong, then I'll be like drowned in the bucket for like 10 seconds or something, and
Okay.
repeat until I get the word right. And I'm pretty bad at spelling specifically
yeah, I'm so
because
curious.
I'm
I feel like
dyslexic.
there's a lot
so.
of different motivations behind here.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. It just came to me one day, and I've been dying to do it ever since. And
That sounds great.
probably gonna try to do it before anyone else can take
Like,
it. So
we have green screen. Like, should we do this? That sounds awesome. Okay.
yeah.
You've had time.
I thought of it.
Okay. Tell us.
I don't know if I'll ever
Curious.
have the ability to actually do this. Maybe someday. Maybe someday space travel will be affordable,
Okay.
or I'll be able to afford it. I don't know.
Yes.
But I think you know where I'm going with this. I want to have sex in zero gravity. I want to have sex in space. I want to have
That
space
is dope.
sex.
I support it. Space
Yeah,
sex.
that's what I want to do.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. And then when you come, it would be like floating around.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, does it cream?
Oh, that would yeah,
Yo,
interesting.
you gotta find out. You have to answer all these scientific questions
like,
for us
let me
to
take
have
notes
this
real
experience.
quick.
Yeah.
I guess
Sex
it'd be
in
like
space.
these little spherical cum spheres, right? Like
That's
You know when they like
Great.
show them eating the water bubbles? Like you could do that.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
That's a good one. No.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna get a little deeper. So, since starting your relationship, I'm sure that you each have individually evolved, and grown through this work. What is something that you've noticed about your partner and how they have evolved?
Good one.
As a result of doing this work.
Or just, you've been together for
2
2
years,
years,
yeah.
right? So we're not the same people we were 2 years ago.
True, yeah.
So what's something that that's new, or putting you on the spot a little bit, but I'm
yeah.
curious.
Let me think for a second.
Well, I'd say you've always been very courageous, but you've become increasingly sure of yourself and unafraid to go your own path and owning your path, instead of feeling like you have to capitulate to these other socially acceptable paths that are kind of projected onto us by community, by society, etc. So it's been a joy to watch you let go of some of those things and flourish without that.
That's very sweet.
I like that.
I was actually gonna say something similar, because you've always been pretty confident, but I feel like watching you go through this world has given you a lot of people that you feel more confident being around, because I think the company you have now just kind of like accepts you fully, And I also think that it's been nice to watch you grow your like comfort in front of the camera and behind it, directing too. But just like, I don't know, your whole journey in front of the camera, I think you've grown a lot in like confidence level.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ah, I love it. Good stuff. Susie, my heart warms. Okay, that was it. Thank you. I'm so happy to like have gotten to know you more.
Oh my God, this is a good
This was
question.
fun.
Yeah, these are good
Yeah,
questions.
this was fun.
Is that it? It's over? I want to
That
keep
was
talking.
it. If you want to ask me, you can ask me a question.
Yeah, how did you get started doing podcasts?
Oh gosh, I don't even. It was not. I don't even know how it was. I feel like I was just asking, like, my intro into this world was just very sudden. I went from like monogamous, like dating women to dating a man who was non-monogamous, and just like just fell into this world. And then I just really like talking with people and getting to know them and like learning about people. And then it might have been Matt who suggested, like, you know, we're always like trying to chat with people and like talk with them. Like, what if we just like added it as like a thing that we do? And honestly, it's been like so fun for me, just because also outside of just getting to know the people that I'm working with, I feel like it adds a level of like humanity. Like, we're humans, like we have feelings.
Right.
Like, we're just so painted in like the stigma of the industry that you just forget that we're more than our bodies. And even across like the levels of like progression that we've made in body positivity, at some point when you're doing this work, you're still kind of a body. And then it's a different level when you show face, right?
Yeah.
And then a different level when you're like, oh, you also have emotions. You also feel, it's like people forget. It's so easy to forget. So that's been like a really cool aspect of this. So I don't know if I'm good at it or not, but I really like talking to people. So
You are good at it.
It just kind of happened organically, I guess, which is...
Can I ask you more about your relationship?
Sure.
So Matt is your first non-monogamous relationship?
Yes.
Wow, so that was also 2 years ago, right?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, so we're like in the same exact.
Yeah. We like
situation,
swiped on
yeah.
Tinder like October 5th.
So how has your experience with non-monogamy been?
It's been such a journey, and it was like Matt was good about, you know, it like kind of slowly making me aware that, you know, he had been in this like life. And honestly, like right before I was in a relationship right before I met Matt, and it was with this woman, and we were in like the midst of an argument because she didn't like seeing men hit on me in clubs, and like didn't like I've known that I was pansexual since I was very young. And so for me, I'm like, well, I'm always, no matter who I'm with, I'm always just people are attractive to me based on what's inside, like, and then some, you know, outer appearances, whatever. And
Sexual attraction is also there, but
right. And so we were kind of fighting about it, and I was like, well, I just feel like you expect me to just never think that men are attractive, and that's just not true, or not me. And she was like, well, it sounds more like you want non-monogamy. And then I met Matt, and I was like, oh. So it was kind of a slow go into it, and then I was dealing with a lot of feelings of like jealousy, and then I read a few books that kind of discussed like how to approach this, and I had to like realize that it was like I was just afraid of like abandonment. Like what if you know you sleep with Matt sleeps with another person, and then they fall in love, and then I'm left alone.
Yeah, there's always this fear of loss.
And so I just had to like really go back to like the root of that and like work on a lot of myself, and then that allowed me, and the more that I worked on myself, the more that my world opened up, and like realizing that like you can experience those bad things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's also like there's so much more out there if you just like open yourself up to it.
Yeah.
So it's been like a cool. Yeah, I've been doing this for like a year now, like the sort of like content stuff. But I feel like I'm just like a very different person than I was. I'm so happy, like, to have gotten here.
Yeah, I think that being poly or being non-monogamous also kind of opens you up to a wider set of experiences than you could have. I feel like monogamous relationships tend to kind of be like isolating, you know. They feel, and I guess I'm not speaking for all monogamous people, so like let me like before you come for me.
No hate on monogamous
like no hate,
relationships.
no hate if that works for you,
Right.
but let me maybe speak from my own experience would be better. Like the monogamous relationships that I've been all felt to me, like there was this sort of like, I have to keep watch on you kind of thing. I have to like make sure you're not cheating. I have to like keep you all to myself, you know, and this kind of a thing. And I don't know, like it never bothered me if other people were like hitting on a partner that I had. I was always kind of like, yeah, they're hot. Like I would hit on them too.
See,
you know
it
what I mean?
bothered me. It was always, I was just always so scared. Was like, and the time that like it really things shifted for me was it was our first like swap. And I was so I was so scared for so long. Like I was like, I feel like I'm gonna freak out watching you have sex with another woman. Like it's going to freak me out. And then I like did some research, whatever, and then I was like, okay, play this out, right? So you go on this dinner date with this other couple, and then you sleep with the guy, which you've been sleeping with men like for a long, like you know that sex can just be sex, right? And then Matt sleeps with a woman, and then play out your worst fear. And by the way, that couple, they were engaged, like they're planning their wedding, right? And so I'm like, okay, so Matt falls in love with this woman upon penetration, right? And she falls in love with him, and then all of a sudden they run off together. Like, is that someone that you want to be with? Who would do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I just was like, I had to just like be fearful, but just like, all right, life is just gonna happen.
Right,
Let it play
right,
out.
Yeah.
Like you're holding yourself back, and
I
so
think
that
that's
was
wise.
like
Yeah.
that was a huge turning point, and like your world can open, and but it might it will take some struggle from you, but if you put in a little bit of the work, like it's there's value.
Yeah. I feel like really the letting go of the control, like you don't need to control your relationship.
Right.
You really
Like-
you can't.
You can't.
You can't.
You can try,
Yeah,
but
you
you
can
really
try.
can't. It's
Yeah,
not
what will
possible.
happen? So it's like if you can find ways to be joyful without needing to control the situation, needing to
Right.
know, like what will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good things will come to you.
Right.
You know.
Because you really cannot control anyone but yourself.
Yeah.
So thinking that anything you do is gonna like
And don't get me wrong, like cheating can happen in poly. Like it's not like poly people can't cheat.
honestly, I
but-
hate that misconception that
yeah.
you cannot cheat
Right.
when you're open. It's like no, if there is not that communication there, it's cheating. Like
Mhm,
it can be
exactly.
cheating.
Right.
Which I feel like poly kind of lets you have a different conversation than monogamy because you're already outside of the lines.
Right.
So you're already like kind of making up some kind of
You're having to define your own
right.
rules and your own
So that gives you a
boundaries.
little bit more space to dive into like why these feelings come up. Why are you jealous?
Right.
Like
Right.
why do we have problems in our relationship? We don't always
Right.
have to blame it on like the typical stuff.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
A framing that I've found really, really useful is thinking of things in terms of needs. What needs do you have? And then are they being met or not? And how do you go about meeting them?
Yeah. Okay.
This I think is also useful in the context of conflict mediation too, because a lot of times there's another way to resolve something
Right.
with everybody happy if you focus on the needs.
Because usually the root of what it's coming from is
Right.
deeper than what it's presenting itself as.
Right, but a lot of times these needs are just immutable. I think like we relate to this as bisexual pan people. A monogamous relationship will always leave me unfulfilled because I need
I was
both
always
and everything in
sad 'cause
between.
I'm like,
I
I'm
need,
gonna
like,
have to pick one.
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
but I like
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like and the thing is always just like I have so much capacity for love and affection for people, and I can love in different ways, and like
Yeah.
there's like, why should I limit myself?
And there's cross-pollination benefits too, you know, like an experience that
Like-
I have. Yeah, there's like, I think it's a mutually enriching scenario to be polyamorous because, and yeah, there is a distinction between just like an open relationship, which is kind of like, you know, you're emotionally monogamous, but like sexually active with other people. That's fair. That's one way that people like to do things, but either way, you just like, you know, when you have other people in your life that like metamors, you know, is the term for that, the poly lingo for that. You know, it's like a lover of hers is also like we share her as a lover, as a partner, or whatever. So like we are also friends. Like it's just a given, you know.
I feel like I should clarify though. I don't consider myself poly. So
Okay.
Matt and I usually call ourselves monogamish.
Right. Yeah. It's like
So-
diet monogamy.
Yeah, which is, and I think one of the reasons is just my time and efforts, like the things that I am invested in. Like I have a civvy job, I have this creator work, and I usually try and put like everything I have into my little efforts, and so, and like it's, I don't know, I don't develop feelings very easily, I guess, which I'm sure I can do more work on that. But I feel like I don't have the time and the effort to contribute all of me to another relationship.
Yeah.
Right,
And it's not because I don't think that it's possible, but I don't think that it's like, it's just not where I'm at.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I ask people usually how do you call yourself, like that sort of thing. But so I feel like that's where, you know, we've been at.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
yeah.
Like we
That's-
even go
that's
through
totally fair.
periods like that too, where we're not really seeing other people because we're just
Yeah.
busy, or because there's just the phone is dry. So we're like,
But I will say that like
But-
relationships can also come in all shapes and sizes too. And
Yes.
not all of them have the same like
True.
time commitment.
Right.
You know?
True.
That's true.
some people you see once a month, but you see them every
Yeah.
month, once a month,
Right.
and you pick up where you left off,
Right.
and it's great, and you don't need to. I mean, I prefer that
That's
because
fair.
it's like you
don't
can
think-
still have such a genuine connection without needing to like be on like the stepping. I don't know, like next we
Yeah.
move in together and next we get married, like, you know, kind of thing.
That's
you know?
fair. Interesting.
Yeah, like I've been with my partner Ashton for 10 years, you know,
Damn,
and we see
that's
each
a
other maybe like
long
once a month.
time.
She travels all the time. She's like an international superstar. She's my hero.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, she's amazing. No, she's actually really awesome. She's an anti-ageism activist and published author.
Oh, that's very
yeah,
cool.
She's really amazing.
Nice.
But yeah, that relationship is no less deep and no less intimate.
Or meaningful.
Yeah, right. Like it's the fondness is just as strong, but it doesn't require the same level of like daily communication or time. You know, we're not cohabitating. We're not like financially intermingled. You know,
Right.
so it's just a whole different.
I feel like that's a
different thing,
benefit
you know?
that comes with like once you get past like the expectations of like monogamy, you can actually start to I feel like we have an inherent desire to like label things or put things into categories, but once you kind of broaden that, like, oh, it doesn't have to be this black and white, you can start to like recharacterize your relationships with other people, and it like allows you to like put a lot more meaning in like, oh, this is just something where we only see each other here and here and here. But when you're together in that time, it's like such a special thing. And that's a relationship that you're not ever going to have with anyone else.
Right.
And there's value in that. It's
Right.
not just like a flippant like sort of thing.
Yeah, I also think, you know, one of the lovely things about poly is that it offers the opportunity to maintain relationships long term when they change, when they mutate.
Right.
I think like the sort of standard narrative of like, you know, serious committed relationships is like, you know, it's kind of like an all or nothing thing, you know? And so
Yeah.
if your needs change, you know, someone has a career change or someone's like sexual desire changes or whatever, they realize it's too asymmetrical, whatever. Needs aren't being met. you know, and so it's just like, okay, then split and never talk again, you know. But there's potentially years of trust building, you know, that get thrown out and wasted that way.
Can I tell you,
know?
I heard, it was, I don't even remember where I read this, but I was like, I read somewhere that one of the reasons that it's so difficult in ending a relationship is that you are losing, like, think of this language that you create with a partner, your inside jokes, your weird ways of saying certain words, your little memories that you can connect with, like, by like an eyesight. When you break up and you have to just cut everything off, like, you are losing a language with someone.
It's like you're
and
losing
that
a
is
whole
like
section of your brain.
like that is something that is like so like it's like it's
that you spent
have
like
to grieve over
years, like,
it is. It's
and
a
it
death.
doesn't have to be like I have like 2 exes where I'm actually like on good terms with, and the other ones I'm like, well, I think we could actually like be friends. Like, I still care about you.
Yeah.
I still want the best for you, just because it didn't work out. And it wasn't until, I don't know, getting like kind of evolving in this way that I was like, oh, like it can be different. It doesn't have to be like, well, we broke up and now we can never talk again.
And it can have seasons. It can change over time.
Yeah.
Like the texture of a relationship can evolve over time and circle back. As Ashton loves to say, life is long. And there's plenty of time for whatever goes around to come around. And,
also short,
and
though.
vice versa.
Yeah.
Also short. Yeah, I guess it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
But but people always say that it's so short, and it's also really long. Like, I find it encouraging to think of it that way. There have been people in my life now. I'm old enough to have had people in my life who were really close, frequent, passionate lovers and intense, intimate relationships for a time, and then went away, and then came back again. And then went away, and then came back again, and it's and it's not like like we broke up, and then patched things up kind of a way, but just like there was a change of circumstances, like changing, moving to another country, just a natural change of circumstances that's constantly going on in life.
I have like 2 of my best friends who we met in our like freshman year of college, just partying constant, and now they both have kids, and I try and go back for like every birth, and like I'm gonna go back and visit for like, and if you can evolve with each other, like, right, like you grow together or you grow apart, like if you can grow, even if, like friendships, relationships, like you can think like these things are malleable depending on effort, I think, and there's so much that we miss by just like cutting things off at like the head.
Right. Yeah, because I guess we think we have to or something.
Right. Yeah, because things tell us like,
what happened? It's following the script, I guess. It's like, how could you be friends with your ex? But it's like, well, why not?
Like this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my ex maybe isn't meeting these other needs, you know, so I'm going to go somewhere else now to get those needs met. But I still trust them as a friend, and we still have these other things in common or whatever. Like it doesn't have to
value each
be all
other
or
as
nothing.
humans that you've like.
You guys must have nice exes, because
again,
I wouldn't say the same about all.
I mean,
of them.
sometimes definitely there are like
not all of them.
we're excluding cases where there are like, you know, crimes against each other.
I kid,
like
but
irreconcilable
They blocked me.
differences.
They're out on this. And I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like that sometimes too. But you know.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've hit it.
That was a beautiful conversation.
Thanks for having us on. It was fun to talk with you.
It's
And
so lovely.
let's do this again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I adore you.
The feeling is mutual.
Okay, cool.